And welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host as always, Richard Demon. This is the Fan Show. Thank you for joining me, and happy Wednesday to you all out there in Fan Nation. It's been quite the eventful 24 hours, less than that actually, because in case you missed it, hopefully you didn't, hopefully you were part of the first ever simulcast that we had last night, and by we I mean me and 3 of the 5 members of Local Rockers Elephant Gun Riot. Was something that we had been planning on doing. We kind of threw out the idea like, hey, what about a joint thing? We could do video, yeah, and Zach, their guitar player, who's an audio-video guru and a phenomenal guitar player at that, said, I can hook it up where we're streaming it through Facebook Live, and you can do your Periscope, and we'll have your show being live like it normally is. And I was like, yeah. So we said, hey, how about this date? Last night, Tuesday, first show of the week, and this is the week of their big show with all-female tribute band of AC/DC, Hell's Bells, and yeah, it was a great time last night, so thanks all of you who participated. We had a couple of Q&A sessions for myself as well as the band, and then we sort of asked each other questions, got to know each other a little bit better. A lot of things that you find out when you're actually in studio with someone talking one-on-one like that, but it was a blasty blast, a good time. Hopefully we can do it again. Hopefully the Fan Show, like that was a glimpse into the future. That's ideally what I would like the Fan Show to be, which is a 1-2 punch audio visual. I think I would enjoy doing both 3 days a week, but the reality is that when I do my tours, I would love to have both the audio as well as the visual going on. So we'll see what the future holds, but that was a great time last night. Great first simulcast. For those of you that missed it, I was broadcasting from my point of view on Periscope. And then, of course, Zach had his whole thing set up with like a slideshow and some graphics and flyers on Elephant Gun Riot's Facebook page, facebook.com/Elephant Gun Riot. So it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I think it's something that if you guys enjoyed it too, please, let us know. But they're going to go and rock the Knitting Factory this Friday night. Starts at 8 o'clock. If you buy tickets from them, if you're local, and most of you are, then you can be entered to win a beautiful Les Paul guitar. I mean, he showed it to me last night, and they showed it on the simulcast on the Facebook Live, and it was simply amazing. I mean, it really, really was. I never learned how to play guitar. I really wanted to, and then I messed up my pinky, so I don't know if I'll ever be able to. I still play drums, though. I mean, sometimes. I haven't for a few years, but talked a lot about that. Shared some stories, some do's and don'ts of the road. People being petty, competition, rivalries, stuff that follows you around no matter where you go, no matter what you do, and no matter how old you get. And it was a lot of fun. It really was. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the headlines portion of the program. Headlines today are going to be dedicated to Fan Show superfan Ron Latson. For those of you that know, he has been on the show before, but he says he's never missed an episode, and I love him for that. He's an Iowa Barnstormer superfan, and so I met him through Jimmy Pratt. You guys have heard him on the show as well. I went and I got to meet both the guys for the first time last year in Iowa for their home opener. It was such a fun time. And Ron was there, and he was such a great guy, and we all went out for dinner and drinks afterwards, and it's definitely one of what is quickly becoming multiple homes away from home. Iowa's right up there, probably top 3, and Green Bay is right up there with them. But Ron got some unfortunate news health-wise. It's not my place to disclose any more than that. If you're friends with Ron, obviously you know what all was discovered today. So Ron, this one's for you. Stay strong, man. You always find a way to smile and put a smile on other people's faces. We had a great time on our road trip from Omaha, Nebraska to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, as we went and saw the championship game between Arizona and Sioux Falls. And I look forward to seeing you again real soon in Iowa. So stay strong, take care, and these headlines are for you, bud. So the headlines are, in case you didn't, I don't know how you would have missed it by now. We talked briefly about it last night, but because last night's show was a bit of a special occasion, special circumstance, I didn't want to do the actual headlines portion. And then there were 4. That's right. We talked about how last night, if you would have told me that of the 4 divisional round playoff games, that there was going to be an upset, a shootout, a blowout, and then a walk-off touchdown, I probably could have looked at those 4 games and said, okay, so the upset probably, even though it may not be that big of an upset, would have probably been Philadelphia over Atlanta. I picked Atlanta because, like with the round before, I liked Matt Ryan and Dan Quinn and that whole team as the experienced veterans in the postseason that really have something to prove. But Philadelphia is where they is, not just because of Carson Wentz, but because of their great defense. And so ultimately it comes down to, I thought Matt Ryan would do better against an LA defense than Jared Goff, who a second-year quarterback, would do against a very tenured and dominant Atlanta Falcons defense. And that was the case. So in this round, I liked Matt Ryan once again against a very tough defense, probably one of the top 5 defenses. That's why they're in the playoffs. But I did not like Nick Foles against the Atlanta defense. So I probably would have said that was probably the upset. I could see that one going either way. As far as the blowout, I probably would have said, yeah, Steelers and their potent offense just laying it down on the Jaguars, and Blake Bortles not being able to respond. Walk-off touchdown, I probably would have said, Drew Brees and, and throwing a touchdown. Maybe that game was closer than it was supposed to be. Maybe the walk-off touchdown was also in the Atlanta and Philadelphia game. And then what was the last one? A shootout. I probably a shootout. I probably would have told you, yeah, the Titans and Patriots. I mean, the Titans had a great game against Kansas City, and the Patriots have had some struggles recently. So maybe they did get themselves into a shootout. But that would have been how I would have paired them up with those statements. But in fact, it was a shootout in Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, the Jaguars led by Blake Bortles on the offense and that outstanding defense. 45-42 is your final, but man, that score does not do it justice because the Jaguars manhandled Pittsburgh all game long. Just when you thought Pittsburgh was about to rally and come back, they didn't. Jaguars were like, no, we've had enough. Okay, seriously, though, you guys are done. And to think, I mean, okay, fourth down play calling aside, which was extremely questionable, they had 2 touchdowns on 4th and 1 and 2, Big Ben to Antonio Brown, which in all honesty, that should be the story, should it not? That should be what we're talking about when it comes to this game, this team, is that you have 3 probably future Hall of Famers in Big Ben, obviously, Antonio Brown, obviously, and Le'Veon Bell, more than likely. And then you've got this up-and-comer, Juju Smith-Schuster, Martavis Bryant, who has had a season of a roller coaster ride as far as the ups and downs and controversy. And then their defense has been pretty good. Now, you lost Ryan Shazier, and then you gave up James Harrison for whatever dumb reason. But that offense, that is a Hall of Fame offense that people look back and think the same thing, the same thoughts about the 80 49ers with Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Dwight Clark, all those guys. And even, the greatest show on turf, Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and Isaac Bruce. But this team, to have those 3 on it at the same time for the last several years now, and for them to be the only team that had a first-round bye that was one and done, it's unreal. If the fact that they didn't get to the Super Bowl this year, and if they don't have those same guys next year, and if they don't, if this team never gets to a Super Bowl, it's going to be like one of the single greatest injustices ever that people have no control over, because those three should get you to a Super Bowl. They should, but that's the beauty of the NFL, is that there are no guarantees in the NFL. So Blake Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars, they advance. Steelers one and done at home. At home. Oh my goodness. At home. That is just crazy talk. So there was your shootout, because, I mean, they had like a 3-touchdown lead at one point. Steelers cut that down to 1. Then the Jags would get a turnover and score, but then the Steelers weren't done yet. So, I mean, it was kind of a shootout. The final score would indicate that it was a shootout. But it wasn't. It was the Jaguars manhandling Big Ben and the Steelers and giving them a little bit of hope each quarter, specifically in the second half. As far as the upset, Nick Foles and the Fly Eagles fly over Matt Ryan and the Falcons. This one was a tough call, because I knew that if there was going to be a team that was favored that might not move on, I knew it was the Falcons, because I said the week prior, didn't I, on the show, that if the Falcons have everything going for them, they're like one of the best teams in the NFL. They can beat anybody. But if there is so much as just one thing going wrong for them, then they are dead in the water. And that's exactly what happened with them against the Eagles. It just, something wasn't clicking right. Final score was like 15-10, Matt Ryan to Julio Jones in the back corner of the end zone for what would have been game winner. Julio drops it. His foot was out of bounds anyway. I think he probably would have adjusted himself had he actually caught the ball. But 9 times out of 10, that's a grab that Julio Jones makes. Is what he's known for. And he didn't this time. So Matt Ryan and the Falcons, they'll have to wait another season to try to get revenge or make up for their biggest comeback or collapse in Super Bowl history that was Super Bowl 51 last year. As far as the excuse me here. Much better. As far as the blowout, well, that was the Patriots over the Titans. Titans scored first, a touchdown, not a field goal. They scored first. It was an incredible one-handed grab in the end zone. They had held the Patriots scoreless their first couple of drives, and then the Patriots came back and scored, and then they scored again and again, and now it's a 21-point deficit game for the Titans, and they just, I don't know, whatever they did in the first quarter, they stopped doing second, third, or fourth, or maybe Bill Belichick just wised up to it that quick and said, okay, enough playing around. So the Patriots will advance. That means that I am 6 for 10. Officially, with my 10 bold predictions, I said that the Patriots would not make the AFC Championship game. Now, early on in the season, even midway through, I was like, this is still a good bold prediction, because they had been to, 6 straight? This is their 7th straight. It's like the streak's got to end at some point, doesn't it? So I picked this year, just like last year I picked would be the first Super Bowl we've ever seen that would end in overtime. And hey, who was right? This guy. So, I mean, it didn't seem that bold at the time, especially when everybody was picking them to go 16-0. Yeah, you guys are stupid. I'm not even kidding. Like, you guys are dumb. Don't ever pick teams to go undefeated until it actually happens. And don't ever pick teams like the Jets to go 0-16 when it's just silly. Stop it. They're not the Browns. Stop that. So, and then, of course, we had the walk-off, which, holy crap. What else do you say about that Minnesota-New Orleans game? And for people saying that walk-off touchdown is a bad perception and depiction of the overall game, I disagree. I really do. Because these are Minnesota fans we're talking about at home who are now a game away from being the first team to ever host a Super Bowl in their home stadium. This is a team that only knows misery up until Case Keenum to Stephon Diggs. They deserve it. They really do. And I understand that it was a huge missed tackle and that number 43 from the Saints is getting all this criticism. I've watched the video probably a million times by now. It looks like he's trying to avoid getting called for a hit on a defenseless receiver, because had he made contact where he was when he pulled up or ducked down, he was still in the air getting the ball. So that's a 15-yard penalty, and that would have put them right in probably on the edge of field goal range, which if you're Minnesota, you don't want it to come down to a field goal kick when you just made a field goal and then gave it back to Drew Brees with a minute and a half. I mean, that was asking as much as you possibly could from the Vikings. Okay, if you kick this, we're up. Drew Brees will have a minute and a half, but our defense has been great. But you have to make this kick. Otherwise, it's a minute and a half for Drew Brees to just pretty much sit on the ball and we lose. So for their kicker to actually go out there and make a crucial kick, I was like, this is different. History is about to be rewritten in some way. And I said it at halftime. I tweeted out, don't ever, ever, ever count out Drew Brees. What does he do? Minute and 30, drives it down, leaves them there with, 30 seconds left? They get the field goal. Lutz, who has been solid all season. And so now I'm like, wow, their kicker can't even save them. Their defense can't even save them. So now it's up to Case Keenum to drive him down, put him in field goal range, and once again put it on the foot of a Minnesota Vikings kicker. But no, it didn't happen that way. Keenum to Diggs, 61-yard walk-off touchdown. Congrats, Minnesota. Like, seriously, Vikings fans, congratulations. You guys deserve it. You really do. So now we will see Tom Brady, no surprise there, against Blake Bortles and that stout, stellar, potent Jaguars defense. And then on the other side, we'll see Nick Foles and Case Keenum. And I laugh because I know that people are like looking at this Final Four quarterbacks. It's our favorite position, is it not? And going, how the hell? Like the eliminated quarterbacks, Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, Ben Roethlisberger, Tyrod Taylor. These are all franchise quarterbacks that are all very good at their position. Like with the exception of that whole Nathan Peterman thing midway through the season for Buffalo, these are guys that they are your franchise quarterback. Where Blake Bortles, that got called into question early and often this season. Nick Foles obviously had to come in and fill in for the injured Carson Wentz. And nobody has given Case Keenum any love whatsoever. So my guest tonight, Chad Kolumber of the Carolina Cobras, he is going to join me. He'll be back on the show from his first time last year during the IFL season. We'll talk about his Eagles as well as the upcoming IFL season. But as far as the other headlines, just to get through them here real quickly, we had a few head coaching vacancies that are potentially filled right now. And those are Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, is said to sign with the New York Giants once their season has concluded, be it this next game or the Super Bowl, and he can officially do it then. And let's see here. So the Jets are making a change at offensive coordinator. Johnny Morton is out. Two potential replacements, former Steelers offensive coordinator Todd Haley and Jets QB coach Jeremy Bates. That's right, Todd Haley and the Steelers have mutually parted ways. He elected not to come back when they said that the last year of his contract could be, voided if he so chose, and he did. So there's going to be a new guy calling the offensive plays for the Steelers. Texans are hiring former Raiders special teams coach Brad Seeley as their special teams coach. Let's see. Arizona wants to hire Patriots linebackers coach Brian Flores as its head coach. So that's interesting. Josh McDaniels is headed to Indianapolis to be the Colts' new head coach once the Patriots season is officially over. Steelers, they are expected to promote their quarterback coach Randy Fitchner to their offensive coordinator. That's per sources right now. And Ken Norton Jr., who was initially supposed to be an assistant coach and a linebackers coach for the San Francisco 49ers, has accepted the defensive coordinator position with the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm a little hurt about that, but it is what it is. Obviously, that's a better position for him. Seahawks officially parted ways with defensive coordinator Chris Richard and announced that they hired Brian Schottenheimer as their offensive coordinator, and then Ken Norton Jr., defensive coordinator, and Mike Solari as their offensive line coach. So they'll get Schottenheimer calling the plays on offense now that Bevel's gone. And, that's about does it. They announced the officials for the Super Bowl, but I don't really care about that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to a commercial break. I'll bring on my guest of the evening, and we will talk some more Eagles and their matchup with the Vikings, as well as a preview of the AFC portion of the playoffs, the Jaguars and the Patriots. So don't go anywhere. We've got more of the Fan Show coming up after this.
This is The Sheet.
Gets me all revved up. My face is now red. My ears are just freaking boiling.
He's so raw. That Sky hates him.
Yeah, he had 51 touchdowns, 4,900 total yards.
I know y'all like that, but I got to run. And only in Alabama that could happen, I have to say.
They're so good, man. They would win the Big Ten if they were in the Big Ten.
You could be doing something vision-based in front of you and reach down and grab a handful of insane goodness.
Give it to him. Kudos. I'm clapping like a golfer. Very good, Johnny. I'm proud of you.
Wow. You guys agree on something again? I'm very impressed. You ever had a bad week? Just you walk outside, step in a puddle, like right when you walk outside. I mean, how's there a puddle right outside your house? Or you stand on the curb and somebody drives by and splashes water up on you? Or it's just raining on you, not anyone else?
I will tell you, before you go any further, I cannot hear Chad when he speaks.
Good. Here, listen to the sheet, man. I don't really know what we're doing.
Every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on WBLZ Sports.
Whether it be your industrial, commercial, or residential needs, Gen Service is the electrical contractor for you. The Gen Service team has the expertise, commitment, and educational years to help you solve all your electrical concerns. They have you in their best interest with helpful suggestions to accommodate your every want. Give them a call, no matter the size of the job, at 740-438-7173. Mention WBLZ Sports, and you'll get a discount. That's Gen Service, 740-438-7173.
This is Nick Ciccarelli, the mad scientist of sports. Join me and Dr. D, Derek Jones, live every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific, for the Mad Scientist Sports Lab. The big intellect, the experiments on the chalkboard, and the guest subjects will be rolling in. Mad Scientist Sports Lab, only on WBLZ Sports, where we got balls.
Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. He has over 30 years of painting experience. He's interior, exterior, commercial, or residential. Doug Peffer covers it all. Is your house looking ugh? We'll call on Doug. Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. 404-966-3361. Mention WBLZ Sports and get a special We've Got Balls discount. That's Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. 404-966-3361.
Check out Thursday Night Tailgate, where NFL legends live on. We bring you 5 NFL legends every week, sharing their stories and insights, plus our spotlight on the positive. Hear which players are doing great things in their communities. Now on WBLZ Sports Talk Radio and WBLZSports.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back, and I hope you have all stay, because it is Mr. Mayhem himself, Chad Kolumber. Welcome back, sir. How you doing?
Hey, I can't complain. Just enjoying the cold weather and the snow we got today.
I assume that when it comes to Philly life, that as long as the Eagles win, everything as far as sub-zero temperatures, snow, wind, hail, rain, it's just kind of all secondary after that.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Now, I have several friends that are Eagles fans, and one guy, Farouk, who lives in L.A., he's from Philly. I think he's coming back for this divisional game, and then he'll stay home if you guys go to the Super Bowl. But he posted that just before the game that if you don't believe, then don't watch, don't dress up, don't keep up with the highlights or the stats. Just don't do anything until Sunday, and then you can maybe join us if we win, because he's a very devout and diehard Eagles fan. So I got to ask you, because you guys have Nick Foles as your quarterback. What was the feeling like going into that kind of game?
Hey, everyone in Philadelphia believes in St. Nicholas, and so do I. So, I've got all the faith in the world in my boy Nicky Six, and He's the man. And, he just knows how to ball out when it's time to come. And I saw a picture on a Sunday, and it was perfect picture. I don't know if you saw it on my Facebook. I posted it. But the best way to beat any team from Georgia is to put your backup quarterback in. Look at what Bama did to Georgia. Look at what we did to the Falcons. Like, it's true. Put your backup quarterback in, and you got a chance.
Well, I think the Patriots would probably argue that because they're like, we didn't need to put in our backup, and we came back from down like 21 points.
Yeah, that's Tom Brady for you, though.
Yeah, very true. So you guys, you're in the NFC Championship. It is Foles and Keenum, just like we all knew at the beginning of the season. This is exactly how it would come down in this conference. But you guys are at home. It was loud. It was rowdy. And I just saw a tweet that said that those dog masks sold out on Amazon. They were restocked and were about to sell out again. So clearly you guys are going all out for this.
Well, I missed the memo about them being restocked because I wish I would have known that. Because yours truly will be in the stands, or I'm not going to be in the stands, but I will be in the parking lot tailgating the game. And what I absolutely love is the team actually is allowing any and every fan that has one of those underdog masks to wear it in the stadium. So,
Wow.
I hope the lower bowl of our stadium is just filled with underdog masks, and the weather is cold, frigid, because Minnesota is becoming one of those, we play in a dome teams, and it's going to be too cold for what they're used to, and we're just going to beat the living snot out of them.
Well, I guess that sort of answers my next question, but I'll ask it anyway, and I'll put it like this. You guys were the underdogs going in because you pulled kind of an Oakland Raiders of last year where your star quarterback gets hurt with just a few weeks left. You guys have like the ideal playoff positioning lined up, and you guys still got the 1 seed. Congratulations on that. You guys got the first round bye. Now you got the upset victory over at the Atlanta Falcons, and you guys will host the NFC Championship. So you guys have been underdogs. You guys have overcome countless injuries all season long. You lost your MVP caliber quarterback. You now have your backup in who is doing well. Your defense is where you guys get all of your power from. But then you guys are facing a team in the Vikings who all they know is misery and defeat and sadness in the postseason. They didn't put it on the foot of their kicker. They actually threw a walk-off touchdown against Drew Brees and the Saints, and are a game away from being the first team to host their first ever Super Bowl in their own stadium. Like, who has more magic going for them right now?
I'm going to be biased and say my team. My Philadelphia Eagles. I think we know how to overcome, because what you're missing, though, and not every person out there is going to understand this, because, we get it for Philadelphia. We're missing our Pro Bowl star left tackle in Jason Peters. We're missing a future Hall of Famer in running back Darren Sproles. And we're missing arguably one of the top 5 linebackers in Jordan Hicks, who all three have gone out at some point with season-ending injuries early on in the season. And the fact that we've been able to overcome what we did to get to where we were with Carson Wentz, and then for Carson Wentz to go down and Nick Foles to come in and just pick up like nothing happened, it's us against the world. And I've got no doubt in my mind that we're just going to keep overcoming, and we're going to beat the Vikings.
Well, there you have it. Chad Kolumber, the knockout of lumber, as he put it. Mr. Mayhem says Eagles have more magic going for them. And one thing I wanted to ask you as a Philadelphia fan, because I know that you guys get kind of a bad rap as being like the rude fans or the nastiest fans in
we're
football.
ruthless.
Yeah, and I know that some of you will wear that as a badge of pride and honor, which obviously you do, but I know that you're not like, one of the rudest or ruthless ones, but part of me has to wonder, when you guys get together as a collective, whether it's tailgating or out at the sports bar, do you ever just look over at Buffalo fans and be like, you guys keep doing you? Because as long as there's Bills fans putting each other through flaming tables, nobody even blinks at us.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. But then you obviously haven't heard. It has gone viral because I know it was on TMZ, but an Eagles fan that got kicked out of the stadium because he didn't have a ticket in the first place to get into the game punched a police horse in the face and was arrested for assaulting a police horse. So I'm not proud of that. I would never punch a police horse, but we're ruthless. And, like, I wish I was alive when we snowballed Santa Claus so I could have joined my own father in snowballing Santa Claus. We're ruthless. And I heard on the radio today, one of our sports talk radios on while I was working, apparently the mayor or somebody from Minneapolis or Minnesota in general, maybe the governor, urged Minnesota fans not to travel to Philadelphia for the game. But if you do decide to travel, he urged not to wear a Minnesota Vikings jersey. And if they wanted to represent the Midwest, to wear a North Dakota Carson Wentz shirt or just a North Dakota shirt in general to represent the Midwest because they were afraid of what might happen to their fans in Philadelphia.
Yeah, things only escalate the further you get into the playoffs, especially if it's a rivalry game. Like, if this was you guys against any other NFC East team, it would be like, I would send out a memo that says, okay, look, guys, don't even bother. Like New York, Dallas, Washington fans, like, just you guys can have your own, we'll rope you off a section in the parking lot to tailgate. But as far as coming into that stadium, just don't do it.
Nope.
So you will be in that parking lot and hopefully not punching police horses in the face, which I'm surprised it's a dog mask that's selling out instead of one of those horse masks, because then you could just write "I'm sorry" on the forehead and flood the stadium with those.
Oh.
Well, I certainly hope you get your dog mask, and I didn't understand it until you said, yeah, we were the underdogs, because then I understood.
It's Underdog, like that from that movie or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Or movie, book, or something along those lines. I just know it's Underdog, and I know everybody's counting us out, so it's just adding the fuel to the fire.
Well, you need to hurry up and get yours. It'd be really funny to see you wearing one. But hopefully they let you in the stadium. If they need another, guard or tackle, hopefully they have your number on speed dial, since you'll already be there and you can go and suit up at a moment's notice.
I think I've sent my film and all my info to them like 3 or 4 times this year so far.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's like what you got to do. But you're in a good position to get even better film because you are a member of the Carolina Cobras, head coached by none other than Billy Back himself. How you feel about that pairing?
I love it. I know for us, we've had a little bit of history of trying to play together, and, it's one of those things where I wish I've played for him a little bit sooner than where I'm at now, but I'm looking forward to this upcoming season, and, I know what he's capable of and what he's capable of doing and putting a team together and winning, and, I'm just honored at this point to be a part of his team, and, we're in a new up-and-coming league. It's a new league and a new style of football for me to play, so it's a new challenge I'm looking forward to and just going out and doing our thing.
Yeah, and I actually heard recently that because you guys are one of the expansion teams this year for this up-and-coming league, that they're going to try this thing where they're going to have your team be the ones that let the fans call the plays this season.
Oh, God. Don't bring back nightmares. I'm still trying to get over that.
I'm sorry. I remember so vividly talking to you and Coach Back about that last year and how just, unfiltered and uncensored he was about his thoughts on the idea. And then talking to you who had lived it and how just upset you were. And I was like, this is a perfect pairing. And then watch them try to do something like that, and you guys would just not have any of it at all.
Yeah, like, I get it from a business standpoint. I get what they're trying to do, and, you know, the generation now is such a computer-based generation. So, like, I get what they're trying to do from the business side of it, but as a player, I think it's the worst idea ever. Like, these people, like, I'm not judging these people and saying they're idiots, but like, your everyday average person is not going to know what they're doing, and they're just going to call a play to call a play, and you're not setting up these plays, you're not strategizing, you're not setting these plays up to win, you're just calling a play to call a play. It's a strategy chess match game, and these people aren't going to understand that.
Yeah, it was something that seemed like a great idea, but then the more you got down to the nitty-gritty details, you're like, I don't think that this is like the kind of atmosphere or the kind of project that you want to put this particular spin on, because the idea is to be like Madden, but it's very much not like Madden, you know, especially when there's actual living, breathing human beings involved in it. That's kind of where you want to leave it up to the people that know what they're doing. So they're going to go and do their own league, and more power to them. But, you know, I felt for you guys last year who had to be a part of that whole thing, whatever it was. And then I know that there was a lot of stuff that went on behind the scenes that, you know, may or may not have been as advertised by them. But nonetheless, you are on to greener pastures, as they say. I don't think there's really, a better coach to be a young and hungry athlete for than Billy Back, other than, of course, you know, guys like Dixie Wooten and Chris Williams. I'm not taking anything away from Coach Riggs or Coach Guy in Arizona, but I think that, you know, they're more about like the team and its perceived image and everything as far as the community and where it's at, where Coach Back, you know, he puts the players first, and I know that a lot of the kind of younger coaches do that, and so this is obviously a great pairing. How has the signing been as far as the rest of the team? You have pretty much everyone locked down and in place there?
From what I understand and what I've seen from us signing guys, it looks like we're just about everything's put together and ready to go for camp. And what he's put together, there's going to be competition at every position, you know, just to make the roster first and then to make playing time. I think he's put together a really solid squad.
That's good.
I'm sure you'll know and recognize half the names he's got on there, but even some of these new names that I see on there are guys from other leagues or other teams that I played against, you know, just checking out their backgrounds and doing some research on these people. I think we've got one of the best teams in indoor football right now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what the NFL will bring to the table this season, just because there were so many moving parts in the offseason. Jacksonville obviously is a great team, a great franchise. Columbus is another great team, but now you have 3 expansion teams that all have pretty solid front offices in place, head coaches as well. You guys there at Carolina, Massachusetts with Amir Ishmael. Up in Maine, you guys have Coach Fuller. And then the players from the IFL and the CIF, you know, they went with where they wanted to go. And some of these guys are top-tier players that would have a starting spot on any team that they went to. So it's really a good mix. I hope it's very competitive, and I look forward to it being a kind of back-and-forth season. But, you know, you kind of fell in love with Colorado last year. Now you're closer to home, though. I mean, is it conflicting at all for you? Like, are you going to miss that getaway that you had last year where you go to, you know, the Rocky Mountains for 6 months and then come back? Or is it better to be closer to home just because of the feel-good?
I'm always going to miss Colorado. That's got a new part of my heart that I'm always going to love, and I'm trying to get out, like move out there permanently at some point. But I don't know if it's going to be my last season or not yet. I got a lot going on, and, you know, I might play this season and next season, who knows? But, you know, for me personally, I'm kind of looking forward to being closer to home, especially with this league. There's a team in our league that's actually 45 minutes away from where I live, and I've always had the option to go play up there. But just you got to follow where you got to follow, and going to Greensboro is 7 hours away from where I'm at. And the good thing about going to Greensboro, for me at least, is I know that Raleigh-Durham area because I went to high school and college in Virginia, so I know the South very well. And Colorado's got a different type of outdoor experience than Greensboro's got. Greensboro's more, the backwoods. Go find a lake somewhere that. Doing what I love to do. I'm not going to be skipping any beats to go and do what I love to do. Outdoors, go mudding, find all that fun stuff. Greensboro is going to have all that. And, I can go over to Raleigh. I got friends in Raleigh and Durham. I got friends in Charlotte. And I got a friend who lives just over into the South Carolina, that state line that's just over there. So I'm close to home. And I got a lot of friends and family in the area as well. So, I love Colorado. I want to try to get out there at some point. But, for me and where I'm playing, it's just going to be the same for me at the end of the day.
Now, Coach Back seems like kind of an outdoorsy guy, but I don't think I've ever actually seen like him out and about. Like I've seen you out and about, on the lake or on the water or out in the woods. Is he an outdoorsman? Is he an outdoorsy kind of guy?
Oh, I'm hoping he is, because I'd love to go fishing or take him out and teach him how to hunt one of these days. But I know Coach Schmidt, who he's got on his staff, is a fisherman. And him and I have already been talking about finding some lakes in the area or within a close drive to go fishing. So, if I have to drag him out, I'll drag Coach Billy back out without a problem and sit him on a boat and we'll go fishing one day.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd love to come in and go out with the two of you guys and just let a camera keep rolling, because I'm sure it'd be nothing but solid gold. The three of us out there.
Absolutely. Hey, we still never had our fishing bet from last year. We need to get that going this summer.
Yes, I completely agree. We will figure it out how we're going to do this. But obviously, Carolina is one of the stops on the tour, and I believe I will actually be seeing you guys in action twice this year if all the stars align, one home, one away. So I expect there to be some pyro, some velvet ropes, a few, dancing girls, all that kind of pomp and circumstance for my arrival. So obviously you have some planning to do ahead of you, but is your dog coming with you?
Yeah, he's not going to be with me during camp because we're going to be in the hotels and whatnot. But once we get out of camp and into our apartments, yeah, I'll have him down there with me.
Excellent. I know that probably makes you all warm and fuzzy inside.
It's getting a dog was probably one of the best decisions I've made in my life right now. He's that one. He's a dog. They're excited to see it no matter what. So, and like his just hanging out in my room, just chilling with him. Like he's just got that natural happy face on him all the time, and he's just always happy. And you wish sometimes that, man, I wish I could just be like half as happy as he is at any point in the day.
Yeah, I think you got a good companion there as a dog just like mine, who is more than excited when I come home after being gone for like 20 minutes. So
I could go to the bathroom and shower or do whatever and walk back into my room, and it'll only have been 2 minutes. And the little dude's jumping all over, like, so excited that I'm back. And I'm like, dude, I just went to the bathroom real quick. It's hilarious how excited, especially puppies. Like, he's not even a year old yet. And I love how excited he gets at anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the day that he catches a squirrel. I'm really curious to see what he's going to do with it.
Well, that's like when I would take mine out for a walk and he would watch a squirrel run up the tree and he would try to like run up the tree, and I would be like, what are you going to do with it if you catch it? Like, you don't even know.
Yeah. Well, squirrels have learned when we come outside to hide, because my dog can actually make it up about 7-8 feet in my neighbor's tree where they live.
Oh, wow.
Like the first time I let him like chase the squirrel, he got within about 2 feet of the squirrel, and then the squirrel hit the tree. And like without skipping a beat, my dog just was up the tree, and I'm looking at him like, "What are you doing?" I got Super Dog. Like, wow.
That's awesome. Well, who do you like in the AFC championship game? Does Jacksonville get any magic at all this weekend, or is it pretty much a done deal?
If you look at the teams, I think this is going to be a very evenly matched game because you got one of the probably top 5 defenses with Jacksonville going into the game playing, arguably one of the top offenses in the NFL. And then, Jacksonville's offense has gotten better as the season went on, and even throughout the playoffs. You look at what they did last week to the Steelers, and like New England's defense, they're good, but they're nothing to write home about. So I think it's going to be an evenly matched game. Personally, I'd love to see Jacksonville win just to have someone else in the Super Bowl besides Tom Brady.
Yeah, I feel that one there. So I think that game has the biggest question mark on it, just because we're still riding so much emotion if you're an Eagles fan and if you're a Vikings fan. On the other side, though, you're not really riding a whole lot of emotion. Jaguars beat Pittsburgh earlier in the season, and although I'm sure they were still probably underdogs against that tandem of an offense with Ben, Brown, and Bell, it may not have surprised people that they won. Maybe in the manner in which they won, but then you have New England. So I think people are more kind of involved in the NFC side of things right now, and it'll be interesting to see how the AFC plays out after this weekend. But Chad, I want to thank you for taking the time to come and talk some Eagles, some NFL, and then your Carolina Cobras. I know you have camp next month, so enjoy, and we'll check back in with you as the season goes on, and I will see you at some point on the tour this season.
Yeah, man, let me know when you're in town. Love to grab a beer with you or something.
Oh, sounds great. You said the magic words. Alrighty, it's a date. It's a mandate. All right,
hey,
man.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, you take care. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night.
All right, you too, man. Have a good one.
All right. That was Chad Kolumber of the Carolina Cobras, formerly the Colorado Crush, but we don't talk about that, and that's okay. But Chad is an awesome guy. He's a man's man. He really is. Right-wing, redneck, all the good R words, right? And that's what I love about him. He's unfiltered, uncensored, and doesn't hold back, and he is the perfect fit to be on Coach Billy Beck's team. That team is going to be good this year, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all the NAL action, all of the IFL action, even the CIF. I've been getting more and more people popping into my DMs for the fan show, as well as just messaging me in general saying, hey, come to some CIF games. And that was the thing, is that it's not anything personal to the CIF. It's just that I know more people as far as coaches, staff, and players that are in the NAL and the IFL that I didn't really hear anybody reach out to me and say, hey, you should come and check out this game, or hey, come in and watch us play, like I did from the other two. So, the tour is always subject to change, obviously. Last year it changed a little bit. So I'm not opposed to putting an CIF matchup or a CIF team on the tour, but I just didn't really hear a whole lot of like, hey, come and check us out. And that's okay. That's fine, because as the years go on, I'm sure that there will be more interest generated, and that's what I'm ultimately hoping for. So there was a few other headlines that had popped up, or I guess I should say that I noticed that we did not get a chance to discuss before Chad came on, and that was that Mike Mularkey, the now former head coach of the Tennessee Titans, who I believe was supposed to get an extension, they couldn't agree on that extension, so they have agreed to mutually part ways. And so now Josh McDaniels is one of the hot names in Tennessee, even though it was all signs pointed to Indianapolis. Regardless, he's going to be a head coach. Finally, we thought maybe San Francisco would nab him last year. I'm happy with Shanahan. That's okay. I think he will be a good coach. I don't know if he'll be a great coach, but I think he'll be a good coach. I mean, how do you not be a good coach that long under Bill Belichick? I don't know. So, Titans and Mularkey mutually parting ways. That was a couple of days ago. Josh McDaniels is one of the favorites there. And it's business. It's business. I'm sorry, Tennessee. I thought, maybe you guys had something there, especially making the playoffs, advancing, and then taking on the Patriots. But it's so cutthroat these days. It really is. And, yeah, it is what it is. Done and done. So that will about do it for all of the headlines in this Wednesday edition of the Fan Show. Don't forget that we are live here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, normally at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Last night was a special occasion. There's been a few special occasions, so just make sure that for the latest, as far as when you can expect to hear from me for all the latest news in football and nonsense, that you follow us on one of the platforms, either Twitter at FanShowOfficial, Facebook, facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. Give it a like, give it some love, and then you can follow the Instagram even for updates, and that is simply The Fan Show. I have a Snapchat. I'm not the best Snapchatter, but that is also The Fan Show. And then, of course, the home base for all things football and nonsense, well, that's thefanshow.com. You guys can check out the YouTube page. Anything that I do, audio and video-wise, usually gets put up there, including some great interviews with artists, players, bands, coaches, things like that. It looks like I'll be having a nice little sit-down with Hell's Bells, the all-female tribute band, after their show this Friday in Spokane. So you guys can look forward to that conversation next week. But tomorrow, we'll have our Thursday episode, and we'll have an all-new guest or two for you, trying to see if I can track down any Jaguars fans out there to see if we can get their thoughts on the upcoming matchup. But I do want to thank you all that, once again, that tuned in last night. It was a whole lot of fun. You guys can go and like and follow Elephant Gun Riot on their Twitter and Facebook and see that video from their perspective. Zach did a phenomenal job setting that whole thing up. So hopefully that is the future of the Fan Show, what you saw last night as far as the audio and the video, and me in studio either by myself or with a guest or guests. And it was a lot of fun. Hopefully it can be done again soon. But Elephant Gun Riot, they're always a hoot to have, and they're going to rock the Knitting Factory this Friday. Doors are at 8 o'clock. Opening for Hell's Bells, what seems to be an annual show now with them. And if you buy tickets from Elephant Gun Riot, then you are entered to win a Les Paul guitar. So you musicians out there, go and get a ticket from Elephant Gun Riot and get your chance to win a beautiful, lovely, kick-ass guitar, all right? So if you missed any of tonight's episode, if you missed any of last night's and don't feel like watching it but you want to listen, then you can always subscribe to the podcast either on iTunes, SoundCloud, or iHeartRadio. I usually tweet the link to all three in one tweet in case you missed it. And then, of course, you can listen live on Spreaker.com/user/thefanshow. You can follow along and always be notified when I go live, just in case there is a change in time and you aren't sure when. You'll get an email that says, hey, the Fan Show is now live. And you can go and click the link and tune right in. Then thefanshow.com also has a Listen Live tab. Every time I'm live, you can click there and you can listen along as I go along every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evening. So with that, thank you all once again for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow night, same Fan Show time, same Fan Show place, with a new guest and hopefully some new headlines. We've got the Super Bowl of all things rock and roll coming up in a week or two. We got the Pro Bowl coming up in a couple weeks as well. So there's going to be plenty to talk about. And then the indoor leagues will start up, and we'll have plenty to talk about with that. I'm excited for power rankings again and all the grumblings and the butt-hurtness that comes with those. It's very exciting times here for me at the Fan Show. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.